Hi, this is Robert with Blue Planet Surf, reporting for Radio Chum. I'm here on Maui, Honolulu Bay, at the start of the Maui to Molokai race with Bart DeZwart from Holland originally, yeah, but living here on Maui. So Bart, tell us about this race.
Well, it's one of the best downwind runs you can imagine. It looks like the wind's coming from the side, but in the end it mostly is from the back, and it's always a lot of wind because it tunnels through the channels here. And it's a long run. It's mostly, for most people, it's going to be like 4 hours. The fastest one last year was, I think, 3:10, which was a really fast run. And and although it's a downwind run, there's three kind of sections with different waves, so it's a very interesting downwind run too. So yeah, it's a beautiful run.
Sweet. So okay, well, tell us a little bit more about your other adventures. Like I know you did the paddling between several islands, and then the English Channel and so on. So tell us a little bit more about those.
Yeah, I did recently, just a month ago, I think I did the English. It's not the English thing. It's actually the North Sea. It was 100 miles between England and Holland. And
how long did that take?
It took 38 hours.
Wow.
And it was non-stop. I kind of dozed off for a couple minutes in between. But it was basically non-stop, just eating and pedaling, pedaling. And it was typical North Sea weather with winds from all directions and fog, and it was very tough, although it wasn't as long as the last year's crossing between Big Island and Kauai. It was just non-stop.
Yeah, so tell us about that one. That was a tough one, huh?
That one is a tough one because you're wet for 5 days and you're sleeping in a kind of a wet bed for 5 days. And I made something to blow up, so it's like a blow-up mattress with higher walls, so you wouldn't be like getting waves over the whole time. But I ended up being wet and sleeping in my wetsuit for 5 days, and your body is just not made for that. So that was the hardest part about it. And the pedaling, the physical part was not too bad. But it was very windy, so it's basically survival for 5 days, eating, always watching your bag that the water doesn't get in, and navigating and making sure you don't lose too much height and get lost at sea between the islands. And
it wasn't really a straight downwind. It was kind of diagonal up to the wind a little bit, or kind of crosswind.
Yeah, it was always a little crosswind, so I had a little rudder in the front to make sure I was not losing, otherwise the nose veers to the more downwind every wave when every wave hits the board. So that helped. And during the night I lost miles, probably mostly between 10 and 50 miles straight downwind, which I had to make up during the day.
Damn.
So yeah, it all worked fine. It was exactly as planned. But there were twice I had like the last night I wanted to make sure I was not going to miss this small island on the other side. So in the middle of the night I decided to start pedaling again to not lose too much height, because it's like 90 miles between the last two islands, which worked out fine because that way I made it safe. But you always have to be on your toes to make sure.
Yeah, I mean at night I guess you have to calculate where you go to sleep so you don't end up on some rocky beach somewhere. Huh?
Yeah, some of the islands I went, because I went on all the north sides to play it a little safer, in case something would happen. I would at least be on the right side of the island, and I had more chance to get to one of the islands if something would go wrong.
Right.
But so some islands I had to make sure that I was far enough that I could drift enough towards the island, or so I wouldn't get on the rocks or something, which was basically the case on Molokai and on Oahu, where I just made sure I was like 20 miles off the coast when I went to sleep, and just monitor during the night, because you don't sleep like the whole night through. You basically wake up for every half an hour, check if there's boats around, and go to bed or sleep again a little and watch again. It's basically doing night watches on a sailing boat.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. So today you're going to use an starboard ace 14-footer?
Yeah, which is a little bit of a gamble because it's very windy today, and this board does better when it's totally flat, and it actually does really good in downwind too, but today's probably the upper end of the downwind part. So, but I wanted.
How wide is this one?
It's only 25 wide.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's you stand pretty deep in it, but I just wanted to do the 14-foot unlimited, and then or not unlimited, elite, and see how that works out for me, because I missed the first race because we were in Chicago, so I thought this way I can still do good and get some points for this race and do good in the overall. So.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Bart, and good luck in the race today.
Okay.
Aloha.
See you in the race, Rob.
And thanks for listening to Radio Chum.